In this exercise, we'll convert a drawing of a cast link arm into a solid model. The secondary blends in the casting, midplane symmetry, and transition of the sweep arm into the end bosses require some special considerations as we develop the model from the 2D drawing. We'll start by changing the two circles that define the hole diameters to unique color. Then we'll verify that the hub midline diameters are 3 inches and 1.5 inches, and we'll create new circles in a unique color centered on the partial arcs that now define these. Next, we'll use the Trim to Position tool to extend the two arcs that define the midline of the swept arm. We need to do this to bury the arm in the bosses. Then we'll create lines that connect the ends of the arcs to make a closed profile. We'll switch to View 7. We'll click on the X-Form Dynamic icon and select the front view. Using the Indent option, we'll click here. We'll rotate the view downward 90 degrees and hit Accept. We'll continue using the X-Form Dynamic tool. We'll select this circle and click on Accept. And we'll drag the blue vector upward and the circle will follow. We'll right mouse click on the blue vector, set the Z position using center mid and this entity. We'll extrude the two arcs and two lines that define the swept arm upward using to position and 5 degrees draft inward. Using center mid, we'll click on this entity to set the position. We'll extrude the two circles that define the major diameter of the bosses upward using the same settings. Using center mid, we'll click on this entity to set the position. We'll extrude this circle downward using to position and 5 degree draft outward. Using center mid, we'll click on this position. We'll click on the X-Form Mirror Copy icon, select all of the solids, and we'll use the plane option, picking on that circular edge. This will give us the solids at the bottom. We'll Boolean union all of the solids into one body. We'll use the cut function with forward and back and through all to create the two bore holes with these circles. And finally, we'll use a 0.15 constant radius blend to create the cosmetic blends on the part. So let's work with an actual file. We'll open sample file KCV linkarm2.ckd. We'll use the change attribute icon. We'll pick a color. I'm going to use magenta, and we'll convert those two circles to that new color. Let's use Tools, Verify, Entity, and click on the outer arcs to see that's a 3-inch diameter, and that's a 1.5, so we know what we have there. Let's select a new color. I'm going to use green in this case. And using center mid, we'll type in 3 and we'll create a 3-inch circle over that arc. We'll create a 1.5-inch diameter circle over this arc. Let's use Trim to Position. We're going to pick the outer arc here and just trim out into the bosses. Kind of important to do that. Let's select a new color, whatever it might be. We'll pick the blue there. Use line by endpoints, and we'll connect the ends of those extended arcs. Let's switch to View 7. In View 7, we're going to pick on the X-Form Dynamic tool. We're going to select the front view. Using Indent, we're going to pick that midline position there. We're going to grab the red vector and rotate that sucker down 90 degrees and click on Accept. Let's use X-Form Dynamic again and move this circle upward. We're going to use Position, and by center mid, that places it at the right height there. We'll use Extrude, use to position, 5 degrees draft inward. We'll select the two arcs and the two lines that define that swept arm. Pick the upward vector. We're going to use center mid and pick that. Now use to position again. Pick the two circles. Accept. Going to go upward and pick that position. We're going to use Extrude. Going to change this to outward this time. Select the circle, accept, downward vector, and pick that line right there, center mid. Now we use X-Form Mirror Copy. We select all of the solids, and we can use Plane and pick that circular edge there, so that'll automatically flip copies of those things around that plane. We'll use Boolean Union, select all of the solids. That gives us one part. Now we're going to use the cut function, forward and back and through all. We'll select the solid, and then those two circles that define the holes. You can flip to wire view, a little easier to see the circles. Okay, we'll flip back and you can see you have the cut holes. Now we'll use constant radius blend, and we'll use a value there of 0.15. And what we're going to do is select the long sweep edges first. Kind of important the order that you pick when you're doing something like this. You get that blend. Now pick those intersection curves where the arm intersects the bosses. And of course we have those 4 outside diameters to pick also. And there's our finished part. So let's recap. In this exercise we converted a drawing of a cast link arm into a solid model. The secondary blends, the mid-plane symmetry, and transition of the sweep arm into the end bosses required some special considerations as we developed the model from the 2D drawing. We started by changing the 2 circles that define the hole diameters to a unique color. Just makes it easier to pick things. We verified the diameters on the 2 midline diameters for the hubs. They're 3 inches and 1.5, and we created new full circles in a unique color there. We then used trim to position to extend the 2 arcs that define the midline of the swept arm. We need to bury them inside the bosses. Then we created lines connecting the ends of the arcs to make a closed profile. We switched to view 7. We used the X-Form dynamic icon and selected the front view. Using the indent option, we clicked here. It'll be the midline on the casting. And then we rotated that view down 90 degrees. We continued using the X-Form dynamic tool. We selected the circle, pulled it upward using the blue vector. Circle followed. And we used the Z position. And using center mid, we clicked on this entity. And that set that circle. Remember, that defines that outer edge at the top. We extruded the 2 arcs and 2 lines that define the sweep arm upward using 2 position and 5 degrees draft inward. And using center mid, we clicked on this entity to set the position. Next, we extruded the 2 circles with the same settings upward. And this time using center mid, we clicked on this entity to set the position. Next, we extruded this top circle downward. Now we changed that to draft outward. Using center mid, we clicked on this entity. We clicked on the X-Form mirror copy icon, selected all of the solids, and using the plane option, we clicked on this circular edge. That gave us copies of all of the solids. We Boolean unioned everything together, gives us one solid. We used the cut function with forward and back and through all to create the 2 bore holes with those 2 circles. And finally, we used the constant radius blend function with a 0.15 value to create the cosmetic lens on the part.